At the start of the movie, Vic Van Allen returns home from a cycle ride to find his wife, Melinda, sitting on the stairs smiling. Without speaking, she goes into her room. The story then flashes back to a few days earlier, when Vic and Melinda are looking for a babysitter for their daughter, Trixie, so they can attend a party. Melinda asks Vic to help her choose a dress and put on her shoes. At the party, Melinda leaves Vic to talk with a young man named Joel Nash, whom she calls a close friend. They quickly slip away to the backyard, where Vic quietly watches them from a window as they get close. Despite seeing this, Vic shows no reaction, highlighting their unusual relationship. Melinda openly flaunted her closeness with another man, Joel, in front of Vic at the party, even mocking Vic by calling him boring. This behavior caught the attention of their friends, including Mary, who asked Vic about Joel, but he simply said Joel was a friend of Melinda's. Later, another friend, Grant, told Vic that Melinda was drunk and causing a scene by playing the piano. Despite feeling embarrassed, Vic did not show much reaction. During the event, Vic spoke with Joel, who thanked him for allowing his relationship with Melinda. Vic casually mentioned that Melinda had dated a man named Martin who disappeared, hinting that he had killed him. Though Vic quickly said it was a joke, Joel believed him and left the party, scared. After the party, Melinda asked Vic what he had said to Joel that made him leave, but Vic lied, saying he had not said anything. At home, Vic retreated to his snail room to clear his mind. The next morning, while Vic was with their daughter Trixie in the kitchen, Melinda joked that Trixie might become a bomb maker like her father. Trixie corrected her, saying Vic made chips for military drones, but he had retired to focus on cycling and socializing. Later, Vic learned that his joke about killing Martin had spread throughout the community. His friends, including Grant, began questioning him and advised him to manage his wife better instead of making dangerous jokes. Melinda also found out about the prank. Melinda was angry at Vic for joking about Martin's disappearance and demanded that he apologize to Joel. She invited Joel over for dinner, but the evening turned tense as Vic and Melinda exchanged sharp remarks. Melinda told Vic to read their daughter Trixie a bedtime story so she could spend time alone with Joel. After putting Trixie to bed, Vic saw Melinda and Joel kissing, which made him unhappy. Vic later apologized to Joel, but then told a disturbing story about killing Martin with a hammer, ending with a warning joke, telling Joel to leave before he lost his temper. At a lively party, Vic met Don Wilson, a writer who disliked Vic for being a former bomb maker and accused him of killing Martin. Although everyone knew it was just a joke Vic had made to scare Joel. Vic also met Don's wife, Kelly, and they got along well. Vic asked Kelly to dance, surprising everyone, as Vic was usually not very social. On the way home, Vic told Melinda he liked Kelly, making her jealous. To prove she was still the most attractive to Vic, Melinda touched him intimately, and despite their upset feelings, they continued being passionate with each other later. The next day, Vic was with Melinda and Trixie at a soccer game. Soon after, Vic got a call from a bank worker. They told him that Melinda had sent $3,000 to a man named Charles. The bank said the money was for private piano lessons that Melinda paid for with a check. After discovering a money transfer to Charles, Vic went to his office to learn more about him. He found out Charles worked as a pianist and decided to visit the restaurant where Charles played. Vic was surprised to see Melinda there, watching Charles, and suspected he might be her new lover. When Vic returned home, he was shocked to find their wedding rings in the sink, as Melinda had taken them off. Later, Vic saw a news report about Martin being found dead and told Melinda, who was still drunk. Melinda was devastated to learn that her favorite lover was gone. The next morning, Vic gave Trixie a dog to keep at their house. On his way home, Vic saw Charles carrying flowers that he seemed to want to give to Melinda. When Vic got home, he found the flowers on their dining table. This made Vic very angry, so he threw the flowers in the trash. Vic confided in a friend that he was still trying to hold on to Melinda, despite being deeply hurt. Meanwhile, Melinda was seen kissing Charles in a car, showing no regard for Vic's feelings. The next day, Vic anxiously waited for Melinda, who had not returned all night. Fearing his anger, he left their child with a friend. When Melinda finally came home, Vic angrily questioned her about where she had been and why she paid Charles. Despite his frustration and yelling, Melinda ignored him. Later, at a party, Melinda introduced Charles and had him play the piano, which excited the guests and led to dancing. Vic was very upset as he watched Melinda at the party. The party went on until midnight, and Vic kept an eye on his wife the whole time. Eventually, he saw Melinda and Charles going to the pool. In front of the other guests, Melinda and Charles were enjoying themselves together in the pool, without any shame about Vic watching. Melinda seemed to be really taken with Charles and did not care about her behavior. Soon after, it started raining heavily, and everyone had to leave the pool. Only Vic and Charles were left in the pool as the rain poured down. When everyone else had left, Vic walked up to Charles with a hateful look. In the empty pool, Vic took out his anger by killing Charles. Afterward, Vic went back to the party with the other guests. Meanwhile, Charles's body started floating in the pool, but no one noticed. Later, Melinda looked for Charles in every room of the house, but could not find him. Finally, she went to check the pool and screamed loudly when she saw Charles's body floating there. Everyone rushed to help Charles, including Vic. They quickly tried to lift Charles's lifeless body out of the pool. But because the floor was slippery, Charles's body slipped and his head hit the edge of the pool, causing him to die instantly. The police arrived soon after and started investigating. During this time, Melinda accused Vic of killing Charles, but others thought Charles died because he hit his head on the poolside. Meanwhile, Don had a different idea. He thought Charles might have died while still in the pool. After a lot of discussion and not having enough evidence, the police decided that Charles's death was an accident, so they closed the case. A few days later, Vic went back to his usual routine, including cycling, but he started to notice that someone was always watching him from a distance. The same thing happened when Vic was at his daughter's school. Kelly then told Vic that her husband, Don, was starting to suspect her of killing Charles. Don had even invited Melinda over to talk about it. After hearing this from Kelly, Vic decided to invite both Kelly and Don to his house for dinner. Vic's real plan was to talk privately with Don to find out why he suspected Charles's killer was someone close to him. After meeting, Vic told Don to stop accusing him and spreading false rumors. But Don still believed Vic was the killer and seemed scared of him. The next day, after dropping Trixie off at school, Vic saw a car he thought was following him parked outside a restaurant. When Vic looked closer, he was shocked to see a camera inside the car. This made Vic even more sure that someone was watching him. Without hesitating, Vic went into the restaurant, feeling that he could not trust anyone because of his strong suspicions. When Vic went into the restaurant, he was shocked to see Melinda sitting with a man who turned out to be the owner of the car. After meeting the man, Vic thought he might not be Melinda's new boyfriend. Instead, Vic started to suspect that the man was the one following him. Even though the man said he was David, a psychologist planning to open a new office in the city, Vic still thought he might be a private detective hired by Don and Melinda. After leaving the restaurant, Vic went to Don's house with proof of the money Melinda had sent to Don. When he got there, Vic told Don that he was interfering in his private life, which made Kelly very upset and angry with Don. Later, when Vic was heading back home, he saw Melinda with her new boyfriend again. Without Melinda knowing, Vic decided to follow her and her new boyfriend wherever they went. One night, while Vic was giving Trixie a bath, she asked about Charles's death. Trixie, smiling at her dad, also said she knew that Vic was the one who killed Charles. Vic realized what his daughter was saying but told her to keep it a secret. The next day, Vic invited Melinda's new boyfriend to his house. It turned out that the man was Tony, Melinda's former lover. Melinda's behavior got worse. She even told Vic that she had slept with Tony. They went on to repeat their inappropriate behavior in front of Vic without feeling any guilt. One sunny day, Vic confidently approached Tony, who was walking. He told Tony that Melinda was waiting for him at a house they were thinking about buying. Tony believed him and went with Vic. But instead of going to the house, Vic drove Tony to a forest near the river where he often cycled. Vic, who knew the area well, sped into the empty forest. When they reached the edge of a ravine, Vic suddenly stopped the car. After Tony got out, Vic hit him on the head with a rock. Then he picked up a bigger rock and threw it at Tony, causing him to fall into the ravine and hit his head on a large rock, killing him instantly. Vic quickly dragged Tony's body to the riverbank. He took Tony's wallet and then drowned the body in the river, using a big rock to weigh it down. After killing Tony, Vic returned home as if nothing had happened, even sharing a toast with his daughter. The next day, Vic took his family on a picnic to the same spot where he had killed Tony. He gave Melinda a photo album with a loving note, which seemed to improve their relationship. While searching for Trixie by the river, Vic saw Tony's body floating. He quickly took his family home, but Melinda realized she left her scarf and wanted to go back. Vic offered to retrieve it alone. At home, Melinda found Tony's wallet in Vic's snail room and suspected Vic had killed Tony. She called Don to report it and informed him Vic was heading back to the forest. Vic struggled to hide Tony's body but failed. Don arrived with Melinda's scarf and saw Tony's hand floating, which scared him. Don ran and reported Vic to the police. Vic chased Don, who crashed into a ravine and died. Vic then resumed his normal routine, and at home, Melinda greeted him calmly. She burned photos of Tony, and the story ends here. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you liked the story, don't forget to like and subscribe for more film recaps.